Most people think intelligence looks like speed. Fast answers, fast confidence, fast reactions. But what if speed is just one type of mind, and your mind runs on depth? Because some brains do not rush. They scan, they compare, they connect, they build a bigger picture. From the outside, that can look like slow, until the results show up. And suddenly people say, "How did you see that coming?" If you have ever felt behind, not because you cannot learn, but because your brain takes the long road, stay with me. In this video, I will show you 10 traits that often appear in high-level thinkers. The kind of thinkers who do not always look impressive in the first 5 seconds. But they quietly outperform over time. And there is one trait near the end that changes how you judge yourself. Because it is the difference between talent and winning for years. Quick framing before we start. IQ can measure certain thinking skills, but it is not your full ability. Real intelligence includes how you learn, how you adapt under pressure, and how you manage emotion, how you handle people, and how consistently you improve. So as you listen, do not ask if you are smart. Ask, which type of intelligence do I have? And how do I use it better? Now let's get into the signs. 1. You externalize your thinking. You whisper through steps. You talk yourself through a problem. You repeat a sentence until it feels right. You explain something to yourself like you are your own coach. That is not odd. That is structure. When you put thoughts into words, you force your brain to organize them. You turn mental fog into a sequence, and sequences are how problems get solved. Here is the quick test. If you are stuck, do not think harder. Speak clearer. Say it out loud. Here is the problem. Here is what I know. Here is what I need next. Say those things. If that instantly calms your mind, that is not a coincidence. That is a brain that thinks best with structure. Some people look smart because they talk fast. Other people are smart because they make the mess make sense. 2. You replay moments long after they end. You rerun conversations. You replay a decision. You hear the same sentence again and again. Not because you are weak, but because you are searching for the pattern. You notice what people meant, not only what they said. Yes, this can be exhausting. And yes, it can drift into anxiety. But there is a difference between spiraling and analyzing. Spiraling is fear pretending to be thinking. Analyzing is your brain doing prediction work. If you do this, you are often the person who sees consequences early. You sense where something is heading. Give your mind closure. Write the main thought in one line, then write one action, even a tiny action. Because a smart mind without an exit becomes a loop, and a smart mind with an exit becomes power. 3. Easy tasks drain you faster than hard ones. You can lock in for hours on something meaningful, a skill, a project, a puzzle, but a simple repetitive task drains you in minutes, and people assume you are lazy or inconsistent. But it can be the opposite. It can be under-stimulation. Some minds need complexity to stay awake. Once the pattern is obvious, the brain gets no reward. Your brain does not hate effort. It hates pointless effort. So add challenge inside the task. Time it. Turn it into a score. Raise the standard. Add a clear outcome. If you get bored quickly, it might be because your brain is built for mastery, not repetition. 4. You question yourself even when you're doing well. You double-check. You hesitate. You ask, am I missing something? You feel like you are never fully ready. On the surface, that looks like low confidence, but often it is high awareness. When you know more, you can see more. More outcomes, more risks. That is why you notice gaps other people cannot even detect. Accuracy builds results. Quick pause. This is where a lot of people realize they have been judging themselves unfairly. Which is the biggest myth about high IQ people? On always quiet, B, no social skills. C, good at everything. Comment A, B, or C. Keep that in your mind. I will answer it after the next 2 signs. 5. Your best ideas show up in quiet moments. You think better on a walk, in the car, or in the shower. Not because night is magic, but because distraction finally stops choking your mind. High-level thinking often needs space. Your brain cannot connect dots while it is constantly reacting. So if you have ever thought, why do I think clearer when the world is quiet? That is your mind telling you how it works. Build a quiet window every day. 10 minutes, 1 question. No phone, 1 notebook. Because the ability to create clarity on demand is a competitive advantage, and most people never train it. 6. Noise and chaos overload you faster than others. Ticking clocks, background chatter, too many screens, too much movement. You notice it all, and it drains you. That can happen when your attention system is sensitive. The upside is pattern detection. You spot details. You sense changes early. The downside is overstimulation. Your brain is pulling in more data than it needs. So do not shame yourself. Design your environment. Lower the noise. Simplify the space. Use headphones. Work in focused sprints. Recover intentionally, designing for focus. Sometimes I cannot focus does not mean you are weak. It means your environment is attacking your attention. Now let's answer the quiz. The myth is usually B. That high IQ automatically means poor social skills. The truth is, some high-ability people are socially excellent. Some struggle. Not because they lack skill, but because they process deeper. They pick up too much. They dislike shallow scripts. If you have ever felt misunderstood, that does not mean you are broken. You just need the right people. 7. You procrastinate, then suddenly become unstoppable. You delay, you postpone, you wait. Then the deadline hits, and you become sharp. Fast, focused, efficient, the pressure works. This can happen when your brain needs stakes to engage. It does not want to move for busy work. It wants meaning, pressure, a clear outcome. But living on last-minute pressure can burn you out. Adrenaline is an emergency, so start smaller than you think. 2 minutes. Open the file. Write one line. Momentum is the trigger, not motivation. A lot of people fail because they never start long enough. They fail because they never start long enough to discover their capability. Do not let that be you. 8. Your memory is oddly selective. You remember a random fact from years ago, a phrase someone said, a tiny detail in a film, a date, a moment. But you forget where you put your keys. That does not mean a bad memory. It means your brain stores meaning, not routine. It saves what matters. If you want practical memory to improve, give routine a marker. Say it out loud. Keys on the table, phone in the drawer. Make a quick mental picture. 1 second is enough. Smart minds do not always remember more. They remember what matters to them. 9. You feel deeply and you notice what others miss. You pick up tension, mood shifts, the feeling that something is off before anyone says it. People might call you dramatic or too intense. But emotional depth can be cognitive depth. Reading humans is advanced work. You carry more. Deep feelers often carry more than they should. They absorb stress and replay social dynamics. Emotional intelligence is not about turning feelings off. It is about naming them and choosing a response. If your emotions feel heavy, it is because your mind is processing more layers than average. 10. You keep learning even when nobody is watching. You seek information. You sharpen skills. You ask better questions. You improve. You rethink your beliefs and change your mind with new evidence. This is not a small habit. This is the engine of growth. Because intelligence is a direction. The people who win long-term stayed curious longer than everyone else. They kept upgrading. They kept experimenting. They kept refining their thinking. They never stopped. If you are still here listening, it is because you want to understand yourself. That is self-awareness. And self-awareness is one of the strongest predictors of improvement. Now bring it home. If you recognize yourself in these signs, you might not be less smart. You are just mismeasuring yourself. Some intelligence looks like speed. Other intelligence looks like depth. Sensitivity, pattern recognition, curiosity, and disciplined improvement. Which sign hit you the hardest? 1 to 10? Comment the number and add one short line. Did it help you, or did it make life harder? Because your comment might be the moment someone else finally understands themselves. Subscribe for more. Thank you for staying curious. Use your intelligence well. See you in the next one.